All right, hello, and welcome to SCO's February webinar on student services and resources here at SCO. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you all are staying safe and healthy. My name is Avery Cunningham. I am a student services and admissions officer here at SCO. I'm one of the admissions team members who answers your admissions questions and participates in the admissions process. Before we get started, I ask that we all use proper Zoom etiquette by keeping microphones muted and less speaking, limiting background noise, and respecting all of this webinar's attendees and facilitators. We'll have time for questions towards the end of the webinar, but in the meantime, if you do have any questions or concerns that need immediate attention, please use your chat feature to communicate with us. Today, you'll be hearing from Dr. Carrie Leibowitz, our Director of Academic Advising, and Dr. Jeanette Pepper, a longtime Associate Professor at SEO, who will discuss the wide range of services we offer to students from tutoring to wellness to organizations. This webinar is being recorded and will be free and available to view starting next week on our website. So turning over to Dr. Leibowitz and Dr. Pepper, would you all mind introducing yourselves?
Sure. My name is Carrie Leibowitz, and I am the Director of Academic Support Services, as well as an Associate Professor at SCO. I teach first year theory and methods courses and graduated from SCO myself in 2006, finished my residency in 2007, and came on as faculty. Before I went to optometry school, I taught elementary school. And so I do have a background in education and pedagogy. So I believe that that is how I ended up in my role as Director of Academic Support Services. And that's about it.
Hey, y'all. My name is Dr. Jeanette Pepper. I'm an associate professor here at the college. I teach in the pediatrics laboratory, in the vision therapy laboratory. I'm also, admissions team adjacent, where I work with recruiting as well, going to different schools in the southern region. And also, I work to make sure that students feel like they belong here at the college.
All right, wonderful. So we'll go ahead and get started with some questions around academic advising. So starting off, how are faculty advisors assigned?
I am in charge of that as part of academic support services, and I go about this in various methods. The way that we have been doing it for the past few years, and it seems like it has really benefited, is that we are assigning our faculty, or we're forming our faculty advisor groups based on the lab group that you will be placed on at SCO. And that way, everyone that is part of your faculty advisors group has the same schedule, and it makes it easier for the advisor to schedule time with their advisees. Additionally, we have been making our lab groups based on regional, where you're from regionally. And so that helps as well, because if you are on the same schedule as everyone from your region and you have the same advisor, then you're likely to meet those people on multiple in multiple avenues, and that helps with rides home and things like that. So we really try to be cognizant of at least some sort of shared experience or shared region, so that the groups have a sense of identity amongst themselves before they even meet each other. That makes sense.
Wonderful.
So
Thank
once,
you.
yeah, sorry, I should add that once I make those groups, I then assign a faculty member that is from a similar region, so that there is, again, that commonality of experience.
Excellent. Thank you. And then if one moment, apologies everyone. We've lost signal a little bit in this weather, live television and all.
You say you lost power?
Oh, just connection.
Disconnection. Oh, okay.
With my Wi-Fi. Come back.
So for context to those who are looking at this at a later date, we're actually in the middle of a snowstorm at SCO, or at Memphis, Tennessee, in the Mid-South area. So we got out of school early today. I don't know if we're having school tomorrow or nothing. Um, the biggest thing I just wanted everybody to know is that we have some wintry precipitation now, and so our weather is not ideal, and so maybe that's why Avery is having some connection issues. So hopefully she'll be able to connect real soon.
Alrighty, I am back. Okay, continuing. What do faculty advisors do when the curriculum is the same for everyone?
That is a good question. So unlike undergrad, where your faculty advisor really does meet with you and kind of helps you figure out your schedule for that semester and for your requirements for your major, minor, and so on. Our curriculum, as the question states, is lockstep. And so it's not which classes your advisor will be helping you with. It's basically your transition to optometry school. And if you are having any difficulties academically, that is when your faculty advisor will step in. So all of our faculty advisors are alerted to their advisees' grades every midterm. Once we have a week of midterms, I report back to the faculty advisors and let them know which students of theirs they need to meet with one-on-one. So really they are there. If I tell them to reach out to you because you've had an academic stumble, or they're certainly there if you want to reach out to them for any sort of advice on where's the best place to get my car fixed in Memphis, where's your favorite grocery store, where's the best place to go see a movie. So our faculty advisors are available in a non-academic way to really kind of give you the rundown on Memphis and moving away from home and really becoming part of our community. And then if there is an academic issue, then I will make sure that they reach out to the student. And then there is a meeting with the faculty advisor to see what resources the student has already taken advantage of, what resources we might be able to guide them to that they were hesitant to take advantage of, and really just kind of take inventory of what's going on.
Wonderful, thank you. And discussing peer mentoring programs, do we have any peer mentoring programs here? And if so, how are they assigned?
We do. We have a Big SIB program where you will be assigned as an entering first year student to an upperclassman, generally from the class directly above you. That is coordinated through the Student Government Association. And I know that much like myself, they try to pair people that either have attended the same undergrad or they have something in common. If you know an SCO student and you are coming in, you can request a particular Big SIB, or if one of the second years knows an incoming first year, they can request a particular Little SIB. Now, again, you are assigned this person. And I'm going to kind of answer the next question, which is what can I expect from a peer mentor? We expect our Big SIBs to provide advice and the benefit of their experience having been through what our first years are going through at the time. If you have a Big SIB that is not as active as you would like, then I kind of run a secondary, it's not even official, but I have let people know that if they would like a upperclassmen that to give them some information, but their Big SIB is either busy or their schedules don't match up or whatever, then I kind of pick a few second years that I know are gregarious and outgoing, and I kind of alert them to first years who are wishful that their Big SIB had more, was more in line with their schedule or what have you. So there is an official program, but if your Big SIB's not giving you what you need, then we can work around that. Because again, it is a voluntary basis. They are not required to do anything. And it is out of the goodness of their heart that they do that in the middle of their busy schedule. So again, from your peer mentor, what you can expect is some advice on how to handle particular classes, on how to manage your time, what clubs they enjoy. Again, information about our community and our neighborhood and where SCO is and where there's great places to eat and go and hang out. So it's pretty much a tour guide to optometry school and your time in Memphis.
Wonderful, thank you. And the last question here, what is the role of the Director of Academic Support Services when it comes to academic advising?
That is an excellent question. So I supervise all of the activities that go on, but there are certain situations in which I will, in addition to meeting with their faculty advisor, I will require a student to meet with me one-on-one. What I do in those moments is in all of these moments, I want to reiterate that when we are intervening for a student because they are in an academically uncomfortable situation, we are never approaching that student in a, you're in trouble, you better get it together kind of way. It is always a, hey, can you tell us, what is your biggest area of struggle? Have you struggled with this in the past? If so, what worked? And then I will sit with these students and strategize about ways to better manage their time. Again, depending on what it is that they feel is their biggest hurdle. I will counsel with them and kind of work with them on a one-on-one basis to either serve as a coach in which I check in with them every couple of days and make sure that their studying is going the way that they need, or as a referral source if they need counseling services, if they need help with managing anxiety, we can refer them to the proper professionals in those areas. So I really kind of work as a supervisory role in general, but for those students who are really having trouble, then they get to know me pretty well. So we have 2 students currently that are on academic probation, and I meet with them once a week until the end of this semester is over so that I can be sure that they are getting everything they need to give this semester their best go.
Wonderful, thank you. Moving on to tutoring, which I suppose kind of goes hand in hand with advising. What support services are available to students experiencing academic challenges? I know you touched on this a little bit concerning students who are on probation, but anything else, maybe students who aren't at that point yet?
Absolutely. And as the title of this slide tells you, we're going to be talking about tutoring. And I want to say that tutoring is available to all of our students, whether you are in academic quote unquote peril or not. So if you are getting a B in a class and you wish you were getting an A, you can get a tutor. If you are making an A, but you wish you were more efficient at getting the information in, then you can get a tutor. So our tutors are there to enhance your academic interaction. But you do not have to be, for instance, making a particular grade to qualify for a tutor. So you can get a tutor at any time. But for those who are experiencing academic challenges, I have already spoken about the fact that both their academic advisor as well as myself will meet with them to find out, are there any extenuating circumstances in your life that are getting in the way of your academic success? If so, then we will again suggest the appropriate professional counselor perhaps, or even refer them. I have referred students back to their religious leaders if they are having a problem with their family, or if they're having some sort of personal struggle. So if it is not purely academic, then the first thing we do is make sure that they have the resources that relate to their non-academic variables in life. If we're just dealing with the academic struggle, then our biggest tool and our strongest tool and our most effective tool is our peer tutors. So I will go ahead and kind of get into the process of how you get a tutor and who it is that is providing the tutoring. So I'm going to answer the next 2 questions all in one. So as I said, tutoring is available to any student at SCO. You simply go on our online shared website, which is we call IRIS, which is our basic SharePoint, which you might be familiar with that term. There is a survey that you fill out that you will indicate for which course and for which midterm or for which semester you're requesting. We then look at our available tutors and match you to someone who is interested in tutoring that subject. So who is it that is doing the tutoring? It is upper class SCO students. So if you are a first year, you're most likely being tutored by second and third years. If you are a second year, you're most likely being tutored by third years. If you're a third year, you're definitely being tutored by fourth years. So as always, a student that has gone through the class that you are receiving the tutoring in. It is free to all of our students who request tutoring. The students that do the tutoring receive federal work study money for doing so. So they get paid to do the tutoring, and they get to revisit material that they will see on national boards in the future. So it really is a win-win for both the tutor and the person receiving tutoring. Now, all of this is in addition to the fact that every single one of your instructors of record will have office hours. So you are always welcome if you are having struggles in a particular class or even with a particular concept within a course to visit your instructors of record, and your professors will be more than happy to also help if you are having struggles academically in their course. So those are our basic, those are our basic plans of action: is meet with your advisor and me, Director of Academic Support, get some tutoring. And we even have tutors that will spend their time with their tutee, like giving them example test questions and things like that. So we can really kind of individualize your tutor session for what is needed.
Wonderful, thank you. And some of this has been already addressed, but anything else on how students can access tutoring services once enrolled at SCO, especially with the student tutors that they may be engaging with, as opposed to their faculty advisors who have already been assigned, more or less?
Yes, if you are in need of a tutor, if you are desiring a tutor, you simply go on to IRIS, or our shared website, and you just fill out a survey that indicates what course you want to be tutored for and for what semester, and that sends me an alert. And then we pair you with an available tutor. So you don't have to call a meeting with me. You don't have to make a phone call. You simply just have to click a few buttons and then wait for an email.
Thank you. And then would tutors be of assistance when helping students with testing anxiety, or would they need to go to another resource for any help around that?
I would say, in all honesty, depending on the level of your test anxiety, we have all been through optometry school. One of the wonderful things about the faculty at SCO is that all of us have graduated from optometry school, and all of your upperclassmen friends, as well as your tutors, have been through the course that is perhaps giving you anxiety at the moment. So if you have a low to or mild to kind of mild moderate test anxiety, then I have plenty of tips and tools that I will share with my first year students about handling test anxiety. If your test anxiety is a little more advanced than that, then I've got some online, I don't know that they're almost like a workshop that you can go through to kind of help yourself with test anxiety. And then if it is beyond that, then we certainly will utilize our free counseling services, and again, specify to that counseling service what it is that our student is seeking, or have the student specify what they're seeking when they reach out to those services. But we do have, and I think we're going to talk about our counseling services a little bit later, but we do have counseling services that are free, again, to our students, and they have a lot of experience with helping our students with test anxiety.
Wonderful, thank you. And kind of the last question here: if a student has a disability, does SEO offer any accommodations?
We do offer accommodations. To to apply for accommodations, first things first, you have to let us know that you want them. And I would like to take this moment, if you are someone who is receiving accommodations in undergrad and you obviously were successful, or you would not be looking at going to optometry school, please do not talk yourself out of seeking accommodations at SCO. If you had accommodations in undergrad, I would highly recommend that you seek accommodations at SCO. You basically will need to, we have an accommodations committee that will review, we'll need some medical documentation for you, but there is a application process that spells all of that out for you. It is very straightforward, and that would be handled ideally before you ever, set foot on campus day one. So as soon as the application process has started for you, or as soon as the acceptance process has started for you, as soon as that accommodations application is made known to you, I would certainly go ahead and fill that out. Now, that being said, we likely do not offer as many accommodations as your undergrad did, and we are very strict on ourselves about the accommodations that we allow ourselves to give, not because we want to be mean in any way, but eventually you will have to take national boards. And that is a test in which it is very, very difficult to get accommodations. National boards almost never gives accommodations. And so we really try to mimic their standards so that we don't make you accustomed to a particular accommodation that boards will not then afford you. I hope that makes sense as well.
Understood. Thank you. All right, wonderful. Moving on. So, talking about student wellness, and this is a section I can talk about a little bit. As SCO's newest wellness coordinator, it's a very new position. Talking about how SCO does foster student wellness, it really does come down to making sure that students feel engaged, that they have opportunities to have any issues addressed, and that they kind of feel welcomed by the school itself, and are aware of all the resources that are available to them within SCO and without SCO as well within the larger community. We send out monthly newsletters that talk about all the different things happening in Memphis to ensure that students are really taking advantage of the ability to be social here in the city and not feeling like they have to confine themselves to academic life without any outside outlets. These newsletters also include tips on how to relax after a busy day of school. It includes awareness about different holidays, different observances that are happening throughout the month or throughout the week that students can take advantage of and celebrate and acknowledge in their own special ways. Just this past week, we before the snow day, who knows if we're going to end up back in school before Friday, but on Monday yesterday was Random Acts of Kindness Day. It's a national day, started back in the 70s. And for that day, every student received a personal compliment in their mailbox, just a little something to keep people motivated and then help encourage them to pass that same kindness on to others. Also, for each exam week, we try to have a different take a break activity. So a different way that students can step away from studying, step away from the stress and anxiety prepared for an exam, whether that be through therapy dogs that have visited campus. We'll do arts and crafts activities like painting rocks, or more kind of self-reflective activities, like students in the new year wrote letters to their future selves that we will mail out next year, just so students can look back and see how they were, what they were doing, what they were reflecting on. And again, this is a brand new position, so we're always looking to students for recommendations for ways that they can feel that their wellness is being prioritized. Now, how does SCO help students adjust to life in Memphis around housing, budgeting, etc.? Well, we really start discussing housing and budgeting very early in the matriculation process. Truly, we start discussing this in the application process. All students who are invited for an interview, especially if they come to an in-person interview on our campus, will sit through a presentation where financial aid will talk about the budgeting expectations that students can plan for, with especially if they end up taking out different student loans, how those loans are allocated, the funds that they can dedicate to housing, the funds they can dedicate to miscellaneous items, the funds they can dedicate to, food and things like that. I also apologize if you hear any odd noises. My dog was very nervous that I was in my office by myself, so he's sitting behind me, licking his little paws very obnoxiously. So I apologize for that in advance. So that's one of the ways that we really start working with students immediately to wrap their minds around budgeting more or less. And then they also sit through a presentation on housing, but not just housing in terms of what neighborhoods students recommend, what neighborhoods are popular, the housing, kind of diversity within those neighborhoods itself, but also talking about Memphis culture, the scene here, how students would be spending their time outside of SEO and outside of academics, because we know for many students, the prospect of moving to a brand new city, especially a city that does not have kind of an on-campus housing culture, can be a little bit daunting. So we want to be sure that students have all of the resources they need to feel kind of assured that once they step into Memphis, that they have a lot of outlets for ways that they can use their time and really start to make the city feel like home. Also, we make very clear with students that we do not have any special relationships with any apartment complexes. There are no discounts to students if they live in a certain area or rent at a certain apartment. Um, we don't tell students where to live. We just tell them, what students have found popular and what their options are. So there's a lot of transparency and always encouragement that students should make their own choice for what area of the city, what housing option feels best for them. And if they ever have any questions, of course, our door is always open for more specific or personalized scenarios. On the same point, we also have a housing fair every spring, typically in April, where accepted students are invited back to campus with their families, where the entire purpose of the weekend will really be around housing and community and fellowship and connecting with your peers, sometimes with the hope and intention of identifying a roommate. You'll be able to attend a vendor fair where about 20 or so apartment complexes will have their managers present, where you can ask them questions about their complexes. You can schedule tours, get swag, things like that. You'll also sit through a panel, current students talking about their housing situations. Very often we try to make sure that those student panels are really diverse in the sense that we have students that are living in apartments, students that are living in homes, students that are married, students that are living, out of state, like in Arkansas or Mississippi. So our incoming students can have a really kind of broad understanding of what options are available to them when it comes to housing. And this is all, again, really before students are officially stepping foot on campus as entering students. Once you start going through the orientation process, there are, again, tons of ways that SCO tries to make sure that you feel comfortable adjusting to your new home and your new life in Memphis. During your first couple of months here, student organizations are really excellent about hosting events, especially off campus, whether that be one event that's more of an outdoorsy type, an annual kind of river trip where students will travel, I believe it is to Arkansas, and do like a really nice floating trip down a river for a day, holding events off campus, meetings off campus. Again, ways for students just to feel that they have the bubble that they need to really step out into the city and enjoy it and find the ways that they enjoy spending their own time. And we always encourage incoming students to reach out to our ambassadors or current students and ask them, what is your life like after you're done with school, after you leave, campus? Where do you do? Where do you go? Where do you buy groceries? Where does your pet go to the vet? Where do you do your shopping? All these things that are pretty integral when it comes to, really making sure that your time in Memphis feels homey and comfortable and integrated. And then, who is the first point of contact for students needing academic, emotional, or personal support? Really, anyone on this call, anyone on this panel, on this webinar, those would be excellent first points of contact if you're finding yourself in need. And they're really anyone really on our campus, not just us, but any professor, any member of staff, any member of the administration would really be an excellent resource for students if you find yourself in immediate need of academic, emotional, or personal support. To that point, Dr. Leibowitz or Dr. Pepper, would you agree?
Absolutely. And I was hoping that you would ask us to chime in support of that statement. One of the things that I think SCO is best at is supporting each other. And Avery could not have spoken more true words when she said basically anyone on faculty or staff at SCO is there to help you. We have truly fostered a community amongst ourselves, and every single person that works at SCO cares about the success of the school itself and the success of our students. For us to be successful and for us to be happy, it is imperative that you all are successful and that you all are happy. And so it really is a true group effort. If anyone sees someone struggling, that they step out of their normal role and lend a hand. I have had referrals for students that seem to be, upset from the bookstore, from the library, from the cafeteria, Just letting me know, hey, I saw a student, they didn't seem themselves today. You may want to check in with them, and things of that nature. So truly, any single person at SCO would be willing to help you. Now, Avery, Dr. Pepper, and myself are, we get, it is our job to help you. So please reach out to us. But like we keep reiterating, anyone would do what we are doing. Dr. Pepper?
Yeah, I don't think I can add too much more to that. You two both eloquently said what needed to be said at that time regarding support at SCO.
Wonderful. And then kind of the last question here, are students paired with specific counselors, or is there one general counselor who is available to serve the entire student population? So the way our counseling kind of offers work here at SCO, we have two different avenues that students can go down. One is You Will. It's a national predominantly virtual kind of institution where students, if they need to be connected with a counselor, they can be connected with someone in less than a minute, someone that they can communicate with virtually, whether that be through chat or text, over the phone, via a Zoom call. And this You Will is really, I would say, helpful for students who are in a crisis situation where they really need to speak to someone immediately. Maybe they're not looking for a regular counselor that they meet with on a weekly or monthly basis, but if you find yourself in a situation where you just really need kind of that outside unbiased feedback, then You Will is a really great system that can connect you with someone immediately and anonymously more often than not, if you need that added level of kind of distance or protection so you feel comfortable speaking with someone. But outside of You Will, we do have another system that's based here in Memphis, where you can, again, if you are in a moment of crisis, we have a number that students can call and you can be connected with a counselor pretty immediately. But the way that that system works is that they'll want to continue communicating with you, at least for, I know in my experience, for about 2 months regularly before they kind of have a conversation on whether we need to continue this communication regularly, or if I need to kind of recommend you to another counselor outside of this system. And that's a really great resource, again, for individuals who maybe need someone to speak with more regularly on a regular basis, and someone who is based here in Memphis. So you can connect with them over the phone, you connect with them via Zoom, or you can actually go to a physical location and meet with someone in person. So those are the two kind of avenues for counselors that students can take advantage of. But always, there are places for either speaking with us or, again, anyone really within SEO's community. If you need a different kind of situation, or if neither of those options really work for you and your lifestyle, then we're always more than happy to make recommendations or to, do research into other resources that may be best for you. Alrighty, so talking now about belonging efforts. Now starting off, given the large class size, how do students achieve a sense of belonging when they are coming into SEO?
Okay, so this is under more so my purview. When students come to SCO and we have a large class size, between 130 and 140 some odd students, what we try to do is make sure that each student feels as if they are welcome. Okay, so that's the first part. Once the student feels they are welcome by attending the campus and interacting with the physical or staff that's on campus, is saying hello and welcome and all that other stuff. When they get inside of their own year cohort, one way to do that is in lab groups. Usually students are divided into 4 different lab groups initially, and those lab groups contain anywhere between 30 to 35 students. Usually students will find belonging in those groups because they're either practicing on each other, they're doing the labs at the same time. And so because of that, and because labs are a heavy part of our component, you're spending a lot of time with these students. So that's one aspect. But a major aspect of the sense of belonging is our student organization groups. We have so many student organization groups to make sure that students can find what their niche is, the things that they're interested in, and find other like-minded people as well. When you start to do that, that's where that commonality of interest that's what fosters belonging and stuff. So you'll start to see that there. And I know we're going to talk about student groups prior or after this as well. So I won't dive too much into that, but I will say that the opportunity to get involved, like Avery mentioned earlier, is definitely there. What we usually like to tell students is that no one becomes an optometrist by themselves, that everybody needs somebody. So once you realize that you need your classmates, you need your friend groups in optometry school, then that opens the door to make sure that you are actively getting engaged in activities on campus. And that actually goes to the second question as well about how does SCO create an environment that fosters belonging. So Avery talked about the wellness initiatives that we have that foster belonging, but then also under my purview, we have a first generation college student group. And with that, we have our first generation college students from first year, second year, third year, and fourth year come together regularly just to talk about different things that may affect first generation college students differently. For example, how to interact with family when there's no one in your family that's gone through what you're going through. And so it helps to build that community and stuff like that. So we definitely have those efforts there. Also, I coordinate the Heritage Month. So we have such a diverse class. And so that means that there are diverse interests and things like that. And so because of that, we want to make sure we highlight different cultures that have Heritage Months so that everyone can, one, not only feel like they belong, but two, we can learn about other groups as well if we're not a part of that particular heritage group. So those are the ways we do it. This year, an organization had for the first time a taste of taste of NOSA. NOSA is the National Optometric Student Association, and the Taste of NOSA invited everyone to make a dish in their particular culture or their particular ethnicity, and that everybody would go around and taste it and stuff. So we had a blast because not only did the students cook the meals, cook the dishes, they had information about the dish that connected to their heritage and stuff like that, so that everybody got to learn so much. Like I had kimchi fried rice for the first time, and it was like the bomb.com. So all of those sorts of things allow us to belong at SCO. So the next question is, how does SCO prepare students to examine a variety of patients? Well, what I'm currently doing, and I'm almost finished with it, is developing a series of modules that look at historical things that have come into place to um, perpetuate health disparities, and then what we can do as healthcare providers to improve patient outcomes, right? So this is a 3-module series. I've gone through the first 2. The last module is what we can do about it. So the first one is just awareness of it. The second one was the history of how they formed and developed. And then the last one is what things we can give our faculty members to help teach our students on how to examine a variety of patients. So I'm actually pretty proud of that and excited to see the results thereof of that particular effort. So my role at the college is to make sure, one, that our students, when they arrive on campus, they feel like they belong here and that they can be their full selves when they come on campus. And then two, that our students and faculty and staff are doing the efforts that it takes to increase our patient outcomes. So there's 2 things to that. My overarching goal and stuff here at the college. One thing that we're working on is basically access for all. We understand that some patients may be deemed as not compliant, but there may be other things going on in their life, such as transportation issues or being unhoused or what have you. As you all know, we are in Memphis, Tennessee, and our patient population is a population that needs our help. And so a lot of our patients may be may be at poverty levels that are much lower than what we are used to or we are exposed to. And so with that comes different different situations that may prevent healthcare. So what we try to do is not only make our students aware of this, but then also in their conversations with the patients, let them know that we are on their team as far as their visual health and their systemic health as well, so that they feel that they are a part of the healthcare system and not just a cog in the wheel, so to speak. And then the last one is Memphis, a community that overall is welcoming and supportive, even though it's located in a region that has a reputation of not supporting some represented identities. What's interesting is that Memphis is a diverse county in Shelby County that has an area in Midtown, which is highly diverse, highly accepting, highly welcoming of all sorts of people. So what's awesome about that is that we get to examine people of all walks of life. We get to examine people that have all sorts of experiences and value to add to our not only our um, patient care, but also value to add in our patient experiences and things that we can take, our students can take back to wherever they're going to practice. But if you have an underrepresented identity, Memphis is one of those areas where you will be welcomed because we have such diversity in the county.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And then talking about our student organizations, on the screen here, you can see just a very small portion of the student organizations that we have. And these ones specifically are very much focused on representation and making sure that students of all backgrounds have a community where they can feel that sense of belonging. From the AOSA, the American Optometric Student Association, to Amigos, which is kind of brand new. It's dedicated to providing a venue for students seeking to enhance their Spanish conversation skills. And I believe this particular organization came about when students realized how many Spanish speaking patients they were seeing, and they wanted to feel more confident and kind of be more of value there, being able to communicate with patients and in an easier form and easier tongue. And then Gamma Omicron, which is dedicated to increasing awareness of women's issues in optometry. NOSA, which has already been mentioned. Spectrum, which is open to all faculty and staff to help them feel welcome and supported regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity. And then SPICA, which is responsible for connecting students who have an interest in public health and promoting health and well-being. And again, this is just a very small sample of the student organizations that are available to students who are looking for that sense of community. But any other commentary on our student orgs here?
No, I would just like to, in addition to these fantastic organizations, I'd like to, just reiterate what you said or what Dr. Pepper said earlier, is that we have so many clubs that you will find one for yourself. That's it.
All righty, well, we're about to close out here. Let's see. I do not see any questions in the chat, but I want to give Dr. Pepper, Dr. Liebowitz, any kind of last commentary for students, especially as they're kind of deciding on not only optometry school, but whether to attend optometry in general, how important you feel kind of student resources are for ensuring that students have a kind of smooth progression through optometry school.
One thing I'll say is that most schools and colleges of optometry will give you a great education, right? What you want to look for is an institution where you feel like you see yourself there, where you feel like you belong, where you feel like you're going to be supported. Your optometric journey is exciting, but at the same time, you may need support, and you more likely will need support because the journey is rigorous. And you want to make sure that you're at an institution that will not only train you to see your patients when you graduate, but also will support you along that journey to where you are successful in your endeavors. So those are the things I would look for when looking at an institution. Do you feel comfortable there? Do you see yourself there? And do you see yourself being supported?
I really have nothing to add. That was beautiful.
Thank you, Carrie.
Mhm.
Yes, it was. Well, wonderful. Thank you. And then our the email addresses are up on the screen, and I'm sure students, if they have any questions, are encouraged to reach out to both of you if they would like some more information.
Of course, you're more than welcome to reach out at any time.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, then, this brings us to the end of our webinar. I know we have covered a lot of wonderful information tonight, but I do hope this is a bit of assistance to all of you as you start on your optometric journey. Our next webinar will be held in March. It will be on how to be a competitive applicant. Members of our admissions team will discuss all the things that we look for when evaluating applicants, from OAT scores to transcripts to experience in the optometric field, and how all of that kind of culminates in a holistic review of each individual student and really what makes an ideal student here at SCO. If you haven't done so already, I invite you all to request more information by signing up for our inquiry form. You'll receive a personal advisor and a personal brochure with information relevant to your goals and experiences. Thank you so much, Dr. Leibowitz. Thank you, Dr. Pepper, for sharing of your time and experiences. And special thank you to all of those who have joined us and all of those who are watching this after the fact. We hope to see you all at the next webinar in March. But in the meantime, have a great rest of your week. Take care. And if you are here locally in the midst of this winter weather, stay warm and take care of yourselves.
Thank you, Avery. You're wonderful.
Yep. Thanks, Avery.
Thank you all. Goodbye.
Bye.